Hey guys, love guys. Today we are going to watch the most ruthless Marine who has ever served. And we have seen that that Americans are very badass and they just go for it whenever they want to. So these are Marines, so I expect them all to be ruthless, but this is the most ruthless. I just want to hear his
most ruthless.
Yes, I want to hear his side of story, so let's watch this video.
It was one of the most dire moments of the Korean War. The US 10th Corps found themselves trapped by Chinese forces at the Chosin Reservoir. Nearly 120,000 communist soldiers had the high ground, encircling 30,000 UN and American troops below.
Oh.
Yet, in the face of
1
annihilation,
lakh versus
Louis
30,000.
Burwell Chesty Puller, commander of the 1st Marines, liked his odds.
You know, he looks
To rally
very
his men, Puller challenged them
scary.
with the words, quote, "We've been hunting the enemy for a while. Now we're surrounded." That simplifies things.
Oh.
The 52-year-old Puller exemplified his motto, quote, "Old breed, new breed. There's not a damn bit of difference as long as it's the Marine breed."
Yes.
And now he was about to show the Chinese what Marines were really made of.
Wow. The courage he had.
There's always been a war between, China and America.
In the Korea.
Born a fighter.
Born a fighter.
Even before he could sign his own name, Louis Burwell Puller was utterly captivated by the heroic exploits of America's past warriors. He grew up reading old veterans' tales of the American Civil War and admiring Thomas Stonewall Jackson.
Oh.
When the border war with Mexico erupted in 1916, Puller did everything he could to join the fight. He hungered to prove his worth in battle, but his youth and his mother's refusal to grant consent barred his path to the battlefield.
Oh.
Puller attended the Virginia Military Institute the following year, but he could not be held there for long. He was desperate to fight in World War I and left in 1918, claiming he wanted to, quote, "go where the guns are."
Wow.
The young man then enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, stirred by the valor of the 5th Marines at Belleau Wood. He persevered through the rigors of boot camp, but before he could taste combat, the curtain fell on the Great War, and his dreams of battle seemed to dissolve.
He was
Despite
so
never tasting
destined
the
to be
grit
in a
of
battle.
his exceptional performance saw him ascend to the rank of 2nd lieutenant in the reserves. But
He
fate
looks like
dealt
a
cruel
boss.
hand, and his hard-earned rank was
Very
stripped away
commanding.
when the reserves were slashed from 73,000 to a meager 1,100 officers in the war's aftermath.
Oh.
The ensuing years were marked by a deceptive calm, but Puller found his purpose during the U.S. occupation of Haiti. During one clever ambush on a raucous rebel camp, Puller maneuvered his men under the cloak of darkness as the enemy celebrated, arranging them into an ingenious L formation. Puller believed the rebels would scatter at his mounted men's first sound of gunfire, but as they fled, they ran headlong into the merciless fire from 3 Lewis machine guns strategically positioned on the camp's flank. That day, every enemy fighter met their end, and Puller emerged from the shadows, earning acclaim for his tactical acumen and commanding leadership.
He was very smart as well.
Banana Wars.
Banana Wars.
I've heard
What
Guerrilla
a
Wars.
name.
After his successful campaign in Haiti, Puller finally reclaimed his rank
Haiti.
as a 2nd lieutenant on March 6, 1924. However, this honor was tinged with disappointment as he was kept from the thrill of combat. Instead, he spent 4 years in domestic assignments across various Marine bases. But destiny had a different plan. In 1928, Puller was summoned back to the front lines and deployed to the heart of Nicaragua, a focal point in the Banana Wars, where he was put in charge of leading a force of fighters. However, despite the stripes on his uniform, Puller remained undeterred and stood shoulder to shoulder with his men on the front lines.
Wow.
This selfless approach won him the unwavering loyalty of his men, who executed a series of brilliant attacks between February 16th and August 19th, 1930.
Whoa.
On one
February
such day,
16th,
Puller's
your
patrol
birthday.
was advancing towards the village of Los Cedros when they stumbled upon a surprised force of Sandinistas nestled in the brush. As bullets whizzed past, Puller seized his only chance to turn the unfavorable situation in his favor and urged his men into a charge.
Wow.
Despite the hail of bullets and crude grenades thrown by the rebels, Puller and his guardia emerged unscathed,
Oh.
forcing the insurgents to flee in terror. They had unwittingly blundered into a rebel camp.
Oh.
Puller was awarded his first Navy Cross for his heroic acts during these
He was
operations.
so good at everything.
From ambush to
victory.
Victory.
2 years later, Puller and his patrol of 40 Guardia men, including Gunnery Sergeant William A. Lee, were ensnared in a brutal ambush in the mountainous north of Jinotega, where they were grossly outnumbered by a 150-strong insurgent force armed with automatic weapons. The battle that ensued was one of desperation and grit. Amid the chaos, Gunnery Sergeant Lee was seriously wounded and presumed lost. But even as his comrades fell around him, Puller maintained his composure and commanded his men with unshakable resolve.
Wow.
With exceptional courage and keen military acumen, he orchestrated a brilliant counteroffensive, driving the enemy from the advantageous high ground on either side of the position. The rebels were in disarray, suffering heavy casualties. Despite being heavily outnumbered and outgunned, Puller's unit emerged victorious, their losses limited to just 6 men.
Oh,
For
wow.
his indomitable spirit and unyielding resolve displayed in the heart of the
So
Nicaraguan
many
jungle,
awards and medals
he was
he has.
awarded his second Navy Cross. World War
World
II.
War II.
After his time in Nicaragua, Puller served in the Marine Detachment at the American Legation in Beijing, China, and aboard USS Augusta, a cruiser in the Asiatic Fleet. A decade of relative peace then unfolded, creating a lull before the storm that would become World War II. As the war in the Pacific escalated, Puller found himself deployed to Guadalcanal, ready to fight. He was soon at the epicenter of the Battle for Henderson Field, commanding the 1st Battalion,
He was
7th
always
Marines,
ready.
one of 2 American infantry
Ever ready.
units, standing between a regiment-strength Japanese force and the Henderson airfield, a strategic jewel to maintain control over Guadalcanal. As such, the Americans mounted a desperate defense against the relentless onslaught of the Japanese forces, who were determined to seize the airfield at all costs. On the storm-laden night of October 24th, 1942, Puller's battalion held a mile-long front. The lieutenant colonel not only held his ground, but also commanded the augmented force until late the next day, even after reinforcements arrived, 3 hours into the brutal onslaught. His valiant efforts were vital in securing Henderson Field, and earned him a 3rd Navy Cross.
He was so
A year
good.
later, in the icy winds of December 1943, Puller led his men into the fiery Battle of Cape Gloucester. When the commander of the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, was injured, he was thrust into leading a significantly larger force. Unflinching in the face of this challenge, Colonel Puller walked the line of fire, moving from company to company, rallying his forces and maintaining a critical position along a fire-swept ridge.
Look at
His
them.
selfless leadership in the face of danger earned him a 4th Navy Cross.
4th Navy Cross. Wow. He's getting awards like
Korea.
anything. Korea, the main one.
After the war, Puller took on the role of executive officer of the Infantry Training Regiment at Camp Lejeune, and within a fortnight was appointed commanding officer.
Oh, yes.
Then, at 52, Puller did not falter when the Korean War erupted, standing shoulder to shoulder with his men, sharing their battles, meals, and hardships. He took part in the brutal Incheon landing on September 15, 1950, with his courageous charge into heavily fortified enemy positions earning him the Silver Star Medal. But Puller's gallantry seemed to know no bounds, and he was eventually awarded the 2nd Legion of Merit and was bestowed with the Distinguished Service Cross from the U.S. Army.
Wow.
However, his most significant challenge lay ahead. From December 5th to 10th, while leading the 1st Marines' 1st Marine Division, the unit was ambushed and encircled by an overwhelmingly superior enemy force at what would come to be known as the Battle of Chosin Reservoir.
Oh, the main battle.
As Puller rallied his men while being trapped, fatigued, and faced with freezing conditions, he said, quote, "We've been looking for the enemy for some time now. We finally found him."
We are
surrounded.
surrounded.
That simplifies things.
Wow.
The defiant
They will
statement
attack.
has since become a cornerstone of Marine lore, embodying Puller's indomitable spirit in the face of adversity. Against insurmountable odds, he not only held the line, but led his men to deliver severe blows to the encircling enemy, earning him a 5th Navy Cross.
Wow. Was he alive after
A
that?
decorated hero.
The decorated hero.
Following the Korean War, Puller was promoted to Brigadier General,
Whoa.
and soon after ascended to
Wow.
Major General, taking command of the 2nd Marine Division of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina until his retirement. His men lovingly nicknamed him Chesty, a nod to his barrel chest.
How
and
was he able to
projected a
live
confident and assertive
after
stance.
being surrounded
Tales
by
among recruits
30,000
suggested that
or
Puller
1
had a
lakh
steel
people?
plate inserted in his chest following a war injury.
Oh.
While this was a playful myth, his men knew that the confidence in his posture was backed by one of the most outstanding service records in Marine history. Puller was more than just their leader.
Wow.
He was the most decorated Marine in U.S. history.
He looks very
a living
serious.
testament to bravery and leadership.
Hats off. These are the people that are the real icons of the world. you know, going into one war is too big thing, and I think so people should be celebrated for that because they did a lot of work for us. But going into so many wars and doing so much for America is very
Also,
big
he
thing.
be like that, I don't want to quit, you know, anything. And also, he's not obsessed with that fame. And also, he be like, I want to do that for my country and I will do that.
And he was surrounded by 1 lakh army, and they were only, I think, 30,000, but still they were like, we will go out and we will fight, and he strategized and he went out.
And also by his facial features, he was looking, you know, very, you know, sophisticated person and very disciplined person, you know.
Yes, someone with a great
He has,
mind,
you know,
great strategy.
boundaries, and he has, you know, that ethics and principles of life.
Yes, and he was like, if I fight, I will get out of that situation, be it World War II or be it any other situation. And that too, when it started, was like his mother did not want him to join war. But he was like, I will join, that is my only option. So hats off to these people. What are your thoughts about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share and
Subscribe.
bye.
Bye.